Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Octave11. Jojo here, and we've got Marg Murphy back with us to talk some astrology and give us a bit of a story about what's going on in the sky at the moment. So, what have you got, Marg? Hello and welcome
Hi,
back.
thanks, Joe. Yeah, I just thought because of the few little chats that we've had already, that maybe I could just alert people to the sky story as we lead into the eclipse, which is coming on Friday evening. People are probably already alerted to it energetically anyway, because there's such intense and volatile energies around us all at the moment. So
And building.
for those and building, yeah. So, and not getting any easier for the next few weeks, actually. So we've talked about elements, we've talked about Black Moon Lilith, and we've talked about the eclipse. And so if we look at what's been happening over the weekend, like since about last Thursday, we got Mars, which is passion and anger and will and action, squaring up with Saturn, which is rules and discipline and boundaries, and also opposing Uranus, which is unexpected events and, a lot of tension. And there was a lot of tension, and you might have felt it. People out there have probably been feeling it. It's been really building. So we've got this, it's a T-square, if people understand the astrological terms. There's a T-square between these very, very volatile energies that can lead to violence, big arguments, aggression. So we need to be very mindful and just hold space within ourselves and literally stay inside. That's a good place to be. So tension's really building. Mars, the faster moving energy of those three archetypes, Mars is in Scorpio, which is the sign that it rules. And so it's very powerful. It's in its own place. It's very comfortable there. So it can really, it can be very active and really act out. And we have to be very contained and reflect on how we're acting out and what's provoking us or what's impelling us to take action. So I'm feeling like over the weekend, so say Thursday, the moon joined those three energetic, that dynamic. The moon was squaring Mars, squaring Uranus, sitting with Saturn. So it could have become very personal. It could have been around our home or definitely stirring up internal energies. And then over the weekend, the moon moved through Aquarius and through Pisces. So by late yesterday afternoon, things might have felt a little bit gentler, a little bit more like we could breathe and relax. We wake up this morning and the moon's in Aries. So we've got the moon in Aries and we've got the sun in Scorpio. And both of those signs, Scorpio and Aries, are ruled by Mars. So we've still got this volatile kind of pressure cooker kind of feeling building. And it's going to be in Aries, with the eclipse is on Friday evening about 8:30, and that's with the moon in Taurus and the sun, of course, still in Scorpio. So we've got the moon to move today. Later on today, the moon will move over Chiron. Take a moment, but if we're sort of in the really hard energy of all of this, we could feel like a victim. We could feel wounded. We could feel emotionally unsettled. if you can tune into that, you can take a moment and just feel how you can change the way you tell your stories. Chiron was a storyteller. And then, of course, the moon will keep moving through Aries. And by today's Monday, by about Wednesday, the moon will go over Eris and square Pluto. That is, again, very volatile, chaotic sort of energy. And it can, like at times it can be frightening for some people, what might be going on around them or what they might find themselves involved in. Chaos is something that we can't control. And out there we try to, the world, it likes to appear to work on linear time. And we like the idea of linear time because it creates order. We feel like we have order. We feel like we have control. But I think the stories in the sky are much more from the realm of chaos. And I don't see that as a bad thing. I don't see that chaos is necessarily negative and order is positive. I feel like from chaos can come great creativity and inspiration. So I'm trying to give you an idea of other ways of dealing with the strong feelings that we're going through. And we call it the sky stories, but it's the story generally. I mean, look at the weather. The weather is building. It's chaotic out there. We're in the middle of November, and you just mentioned before we started recording that it's been snowing down the road. It's crazy here. There's limbs coming down, the garden's getting blown around. It's just so wet. That's chaos, but from there'll be new growth, And I feel like we forget that we don't really live in linear time. And chaos is much more the world of cycles. And so it's good to tune into the cycles. And, yeah, it's strong energy, but it doesn't have to be evil. So then by Thursday, the moon will be in Taurus and building, into the sign where she's going to be eclipsed by Friday evening. What's really interesting about today is that Lilith is sitting at 25 degrees of Taurus right now, and she'll be moving over the day because she'll be in Gemini tomorrow. But I don't think we've mentioned that at 26 degrees of Taurus, and the eclipse is at 27, remember? At 26 degrees of Taurus, we've got a fixed star called Algol. So Algol is a very powerful, and some cultures have seen Algol as a negative energy because it's so powerful, but other cultures have actually referred to Algol as Lilith. So we've got Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, that dark space in the moon's orbit, in Paran, at the same longitude as Algol, the fixed star. So we've got this real whammy of immense passion.
Well, Eris 2, Marg, sorry to interrupt. Eris 2 is very warrior-esque, isn't it? 2 energy. So the three of them are all very kick-offy, feisty vibes.
Yeah, feisty and connected to chaos. Really strong, but strong and powerful, passionate doesn't have to be seen as negative. So we have to really work with it. It's really strong female Kundalini energy, if that kind of analogy works for people. And
works for me.
Yeah. So there's a lot of chaos, a lot of energetic chaos around us, but from that comes creation. And so this is where my thinking's been going with the sky stories of now and leading up to this week, that we're all, like we've been hearing, people say we're all in this together. Well, the reality is, of course, we're all in this together. We're all here. We're all on this planet. We're all under the one sky. And so we're all co-creating this situation. So when we have moments where chaos is strong, the co-creation can be powerful. So the intention is really significant. And if it's too strong out there, it's a good time to just go within and really look at how those volatile energies are impacting on us personally, within our own bodies, within our own emotional field, and, within our neighbourhood, and then extending out from there, broader family, broader community. How is it impacting us? How we want to feel like we have control, but we don't have control over what's happening out there. But we have to look very deep within and see how much we can hold this energy so that we can restrain ourselves from acting out that easily. It's quite easy to step into unrestrained anger and imbalances of power. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Agitation, craziness. I'm glad all the protests in Melbourne on the weekend, which apparently were quite huge, 80,000 people or something, that all went quite peacefully as far as I could tell. Even with
it seems like that. Yeah, and I was thinking about that as well. And we've seen a lot of protests all around the world through, all of this year. That's that Saturn-Uranus square. So we might feel bogged down and burdened by the Saturnian influences, which are the oppressions and the imposition of rules and lockdowns and whatever else. But Uranus is active, and there are thousands and millions of people protesting all around the world, but the powers that be perhaps are not letting us see that on the mainstream media. But we have to take faith and know that that energy is there, and that in this chaotic moments, particularly eclipse moments, are known as being chaotic moments, that they are moments where the balance can tip. And you mentioned the protests in Melbourne. Was it yesterday or Saturday? I can't remember.
Saturday.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it, noticing that they were quite peaceful, and just realising the absurdity of it, because, like, say 2 weeks ago, the protesters were met by police out in full force who were, butting up against them and making it really unsafe and unruly, and, the agitation really increases. And the reason they were doing that was because we were still officially in lockdown. So this behaviour is seen as being completely negative, and the police arc up, and then people arc up, and it's on. But then this weekend, even with that Mars, Saturn, Uranus, powerful energy, we're not officially in lockdown. The police took a back step and people got to just express themselves. But I was just sort of really somehow taken by the absurdity of it. Like, one day it can be like this,
rubber bullets,
and the next day it's changed. It actually, I had a conversation with a few friends around the dinner table that night, the night of the protest, and we were somehow reminded of that story from the Second World War, where the German troops and the German forces and the Allied forces, trench warfare, First World War, laid down their weapons and celebrated Christmas together. And then 2 days later, they picked up their guns and started up again. It's the madness of humanity, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly apparent
we
at
can,
the moment.
yeah. And so that was, I don't know, that was something that just became really clear to me on the weekend with the protests just going so smoothly. I mean, of course, I'm glad it went smoothly, you know, but it's because the police didn't interact. They stood there on the sidelines and did nothing because this time they were their orders. Saturn, Uranus.
Yeah, it's different.
Saturn, Uranus.
It's weird though, Mark. Like I've seen like a few people talking about the right-wing extreme like activity going on there. It's like I cannot see that. I don't know where these people are getting their information, but it's like they're still needing something to buck up against or get agitated about. I don't know what it's about because everything I saw was pretty peaceful. But yeah, there's some people that are just claiming these protests as ridiculous and how dare people, you know, how risky is it because of the, you know, the disease. They're just missing the point altogether. It's bewildering.
I think so. I think the narrative's changing.
I think so.
But I think, you know, like, and on that point of the right wing and, you know, then of course that brings up the left wing, you know, I think part of what's happening with the big sky stories that are unfolding, you know, and that's a process. It's taking several years or more. I think we're beginning to recognise that these labels are not appropriate anymore.
Well, they're divisive, aren't they? You know, left,
yes.
right, black, white, up, down, male, female,
yeah.
but they're just polarities of the one thing. They're extremes of
Yeah.
the one thing. So hopefully we can lose all those polarities moving forward and understand
hopefully we can
together.
And co-create something. What is that? We're not sure what that is yet because we're still in the process of the crumbling of the systems crumbling, of new systems not quite arising, visions not being clear yet. And that's a long process, Jojo. You know, that's what goes way beyond this eclipse. But this eclipse is, you know, if we pick up on our earlier discussions, it's in the feminine signs of Scorpio and Taurus, water and earth. And so there's that real feminine energy, which is earth energy. So there's stories around earth and cycles of weather and cycles of change that can be, you know, embraced. There can be, it's really strong with Algol being present there it's strong, but it's not evil. I have to repeat that and emphasize that. It can feel chaotic, but from there can be new stories emerging, and it can be very, very emotional, remembering that it's a full moon, it's a lunar eclipse, so it's about our own internal energy and where's it being directed, and how can we hold a balance so that we're not provoked, so that we're not feeling like victims, or we're not acting out and being, you know, aggressive even. So it's so volatile this season. And this week, we're already in it. So we've got the moon in Aries and Mars and the sun in Scorpio, both ruled by Mars. So we're in a really Martian, kind of space this week, building up. And then today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just be very, very mindful about the way you're interacting with others. Where is the passion? Sorry about that.
Okay.
Where's the passion being directed? Do some Kundalini breath work if that's your thing, people, or go and, you know, find a quiet place to sit and contemplating your navel is a good deal this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cold shower.
Yeah. No, a really hot one. It's too cold out there.
It's freezing.
Yeah. So really, really strong feelings, and reminding people that nothing that we're experiencing has not been experienced before. And if we are wanting to look at cycles, we need to look at what we were up to this time of the year from 2002 right through till the middle, like from this time of the year, 2002, moving through till about May of 2004. That kind of 18-month period has some similar energies or subtexts to now in our personal lives. So there might be some things that come back and remind us, you know, we might have to look at aspects of our own shadow again. It's lunar, remember, so it's internal shadow work. Yeah, and I just lost my train of thought for a moment there. Yeah, it's gone.
I haven't got a clear train of thought today for some reason. I feel a bit woo. But it's nice
tricky. Yeah. So just the cycles and knowing that, you know, we'll get the flip side of this eclipse in May of next year, like we had one in May of early June, late May this year. So everything's a cycle, everything's a process. What is the process that you're actively engaging in when things feel chaotic? And like in the ancient world, when anything that wasn't known was seen as being out there and being in the realm of chaos, ritual was engaged. So ritual was practice, and ritual's something, you know, something that you can do every day, but you do it with intent. So it might even be just having the cup of coffee in the morning, the cup of tea in the morning, but it's making it with reverence and just acknowledging the gift of the earth, you know, and the drinking of it, and just doing it all with real mindfulness. And that within the chaos brings a little bit of order into your own life and creates a moment and a space to feel what's going on and to know that this too will pass. This too will pass. And I am reminding myself of that every moment of the day. I'm a Scorpio, so it's tough at the moment. You know? Yeah. And so to watch now in your own charts, where is Aries and where is Taurus? Because the moon over this week from Monday to Friday is going to move through Aries and Taurus. So where that part of where it is in that part of your chart is where you can place your attention. What area, what room in your life? So as an example, for me, it's in with my immediate community, neighborhood, and my family. So that's the zone for me to be mindful of, just as an example to show people how it works. Yeah?
Sure.
So watch Aries and Taurus and try to keep calm and make cups of tea very mindfully over the next few days. Oh, yes. Cheers.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks,
so that's
Marg.
really about all I've got to say. It's an intense time, and maybe we can chat next week when the eclipse is in the past.
Sure. Yeah, I feel, yeah, the moon's got it's my first and second house, so I don't feel like I've got much to even say to add really today, but it's always a pleasure to listen to your advice and your knowledge, Marg. I love it.
Thank you, Jojo. That's really kind of you.
Always grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Blessings to everyone, and breathe. Yeah.
Beautiful.
All things pass.
Yeah, thanks for the quickie.
Thanks, Jojo.
All right, see you, darling.
See you next time.
Take
Okay,
care.
bye.